Fire load is a really important concept when we talk about fire safety. It's basically a measure of how much heat could be released if a fire starts in a particular area. Imagine all the stuff in a room catching fire. That's a lot of potential energy. Fire load considers the amount of flammable material and how much heat it can produce. We measure fire load in terms of energy, usually BTUs or British thermal units or megajoules. A higher fire load means a hotter, more intense fire. Think of it like this. A library full of books has a much higher fire load than a swimming pool. Why? Because paper burns easily and releases a lot of heat, while water doesn't burn at all. So, why should we care about fire load? Well, understanding fire load helps us design and manage buildings in a way that minimizes fire risk. It's all about keeping people safe. Building codes and regulations use fire load calculations to determine things like how many exits a building needs, what type of fire alarm system to install, and whether sprinkler systems are required. By knowing the fire load, we can make informed decisions about fire safety measures. For example, a warehouse storing flammable liquids will have a much higher fire load than an office building. Therefore, the warehouse will need more robust fire safety measures in place. Now, how do we actually calculate fire load? It's not as complicated as you might think. Here's a simplified breakdown. First, we need to figure out what in the room can actually burn. This includes things like furniture, carpets, curtains, and even the building materials themselves. Next, we need to know how much of each combustible material is present. We can usually find this information on product labels or by doing some simple weighing. Every material has a calorific value, which tells us how much heat it releases when it burns. This value is usually measured in BTUs per pound or megajoules per kilogram. You can often find this information online or in material safety data sheets. Finally, we multiply the weight of each material by its calorific value and add up the results for all the materials in the area. This gives us the total fire load for that space. Remember, this is a simplified explanation. Accurate fire load calculations often involve more complex factors and require the expertise of fire safety professionals. Section 4. Fire load in different industries. Fire load varies greatly depending on the type of industry and building use. Let's look at some examples. Residential buildings. Homes typically have relatively low fire loads because they mostly contain furniture, appliances, and personal belongings. However, things like fireplaces and stored flammable liquids can increase the fire load. Office buildings. Offices also tend to have moderate fire loads, primarily due to furniture, paper, and electronic equipment. Open floor plans can increase fire spread potential, while fire-resistant materials can help reduce the overall fire load. Warehouses. Warehouses can pose significant fire hazards due to the large quantities of materials stored. The fire load will depend on the specific contents, such as flammable liquids, paper products, or plastics. Industrial facilities. Industrial settings often involve processes that use heat, sparks, or flammable materials, leading to potentially high fire loads. Proper ventilation, fire suppression systems, and strict safety protocols are crucial in these environments. By understanding the typical fire loads associated with different industries, we can implement appropriate fire safety measures to mitigate risks. Section 5. Fire load and building safety. Fire load plays a crucial role in determining the fire resistance rating of a building. This rating indicates how long a building's structural components can withstand fire exposure before collapsing. Buildings with higher fire loads require higher fire resistance ratings. This might involve using fire-resistant building materials, installing sprinkler systems, or incorporating firewalls to compartmentalize spaces and slow the spread of fire. Additionally, fire load influences the design of fire safety systems. Buildings with higher fire loads may require more fire exits, wider stairwells to facilitate evacuation, more sensitive fire alarm systems to provide early detection, and larger capacity sprinkler systems to suppress fires more effectively. Proper consideration of fire load is essential for creating a safe environment for building occupants. Section 6 conclusion: prioritizing fire safety. Understanding and managing fire load is crucial for protecting lives and property. By considering the potential fire hazards associated with different materials and building uses, we can implement appropriate fire safety measures to minimize risks. Remember, fire safety is everyone's responsibility. Be mindful of potential fire hazards in your surroundings, and always follow fire safety guidelines. Stay curious and stay safe.